The January 6th committee just wrapped up its public hearings. Some of the most powerful testimony came from police officers who repelled the mob at the U.S. Capitol. In July of last year, the committee held a preliminary hearing with 4 officers. Among them was Michael Fanone, formerly of Washington, D.C.'s Metropolitan Police Department. Last June, Officer Fanone met with House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. He was part of a group calling for an independent commission to investigate the insurrection. Republicans would ultimately block that, but Fanone secretly recorded his conversation with McCarthy.
You've got a platform to call out the BS. The president's statements that day were BS. Saying, I mean, you know, you were on the phone with him. While you were on the phone with him, I was getting the kicked out of me, almost losing my life. The way that he, saying this is what happens when you steal an election. Go home, I love you. What the is that? That came from the President of the United States.
That is just one revelation from Michael Fanone's new book. The others center around things we never got to learn about him after the riots, namely, who he was before that awful day and who he has become since. The book is called Hold the Line, The Insurrection and One Cop's Battle for America's Soul, co-written with John Schiffman. Michael Fanone, welcome to the program. I'm glad you're with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
First of all, I just want to say I read the book. It is fantastic, and it talks about a lot of really hard stuff. I don't want to assume that all the traumas are dealt with, so just let me know if we're touching on something that's touchy. Like, I respect that. Just because you wrote about it doesn't mean it's easy to talk about every day. But with regard to that, how are you doing these days? Having had the process of writing the book and talking about what happened, how is life these days?
I mean, I'm getting by. I think that I have come to terms with January 6th and the role that I played on January 6th. What's been most difficult for me is processing everything that happened after that. I think it's been difficult for a lot of officers that were there that day, seeing the reality of their experience mischaracterized or out and out denied.
You talk about that with regard to the Kevin McCarthy conversations. Let me play one more piece of that in terms of what he mentioned about apparently, or as he put it, politicizing the insurrection. Listen.
If we don't handle it in a political way, I don't believe it happens. Now, we treat it like politics, then it just goes.
Kevin, I agree with you. The problem is, it is political because it happened here on Capitol Hill and it involved a political movement. It involved a group of extremist, right-wing element of our, American society, which was mobilized by politicians. And that's just a fact.
You've had to navigate a lot of politics since all of this happened, and you talk about how you cope with it a good deal in the book. But what has helped you get through it all, just dealing with the politics that sprang up after January 6th?
Well, first of all, I know that I have truth on my side, and I'm hyper-focused on my goal. And right now, my goal is twofold. It's acknowledgement for the officers that fought to defend democracy on January 6th, and it's accountability for those that were responsible, not just for the, micro activity of attacking the Capitol that day, but those that orchestrated that event and peddled the lies and manipulated those that went there.
You talk a lot in the book about being a police officer and how you kind of evolved as a police officer from this kind of like ass-kicking rookie who was kind of high on the adrenaline of the job to someone who kind of matured and found a different sort of empathy for the people that you interacted with. You write a lot about someone named Leslie, who was a black transgender sex worker in Washington, D.C., who was an informant and helped you learn a lot about the way things are on the street and really became quite a dear friend. A part of what you write in the book, on pages 57 and 58, you write, quote, "A lot of cops were repulsed by Leslie. They expressed shock that I would hug an HIV-positive transgender woman or kiss her on the cheek. They couldn't believe that I'd bring this woman home to meet my daughters. I guess they couldn't see her as I did, a human like any other, seeking only survival and love. I used to take her to meet younger officers after hours, to drink and play ping pong, to help them understand and get to know the kind of people they'd sworn to protect," unquote. Much of this book is critical about how policing is practiced today, and you do have a number of suggestions in the epilogue. What was it that opened you up to being more empathetic towards someone like Leslie? Was it just kind of happenstance as a result of needing her as an informant, or what opened that door for you?
I mean, what opened the door for me was recognizing that I had a lot more in common with the people that I was policing than were differences. I was a white kid from the suburbs. I started my education in private schools. But I also spent a lot of time working, some blue-collar jobs, and I knew what it was like to live paycheck to paycheck, and in some circumstances, even worse off than that. And so I started to empathize with people that were living at or below the poverty line, and understanding what it was like to really have to fight on a daily basis to survive. And the reason I included that aspect in the book was not to be critical of my colleagues and coworkers, but it was really, the conversation about policing and police reform is incredibly important to me. And I wanted people to understand what it was like to be a street cop for 20 years in the inner city, to see the, experiences that I had, the pitfalls that I fell into as a police officer, in hopes that, this would help engage in a more productive conversation about policing, and recognize that, officers are human beings too, as well as, the need for empathy and compassion in those that we're charged with protecting.
With regard to empathy and compassion, I don't know if I'd call it empathy, but there's certainly a measure of understanding that you bring, or perspective about the people who attacked the Capitol, including one man in particular, Daniel J. Rodriguez, who was investigated for attacking you with a stun gun. You write about the FBI interrogation of him on page 143, and you described him as a failed drug dealer so desperate for a sense of belonging that he became an easy mark for a cult. He told the FBI agents that the people that he associated with made him feel proud and important. They gave him a sense of purpose. Knowing what you know now about the people who were in that mob, what do you think about the way forward in terms of the people who've been kind of caught up in the thrall of this so-called big lie? Are they reachable, or are they kind of beyond reaching?
I mean, unfortunately, I think the people that still are diehard Trump fans, and I'm not talking about Republicans, I'm talking about Trump supporters, I do believe that they are unreachable. I think that the only way forward is accountability for people that broke the law. If there's, if you have bare criminal culpability for the actions that took place on January 6th, you need to be brought, before a jury of your peers and tried. I don't think there's as many as, we may think, or is portrayed sometimes in the media. I think what's worse than the people that still hold on to this, Trumpism, are the people that are indifferent. The Americans that are indifferent to what happened on January 6th, the Americans that are indifferent to the pain and suffering that Donald Trump has caused to so many other American citizens. And I think it's that indifference that's most dangerous.
We heard from some viewers who absolutely loved the book, and I do want to get to one or two questions while I've got you before I have to let you go. Sherna wrote on Facebook what the main lesson is that you would like others to learn from your experience, and what advice would you give to the world about taking a stand for justice?
Well, I'll answer the latter question first. It's important. You know, I took a stand and I continue to speak out for one reason, and that's a lesson that I learned when I was very young. I spent a lot of time in the out of doors, and my mentors taught me that you need to leave a place better than you found it. And so I'm speaking out because I want to leave this country better off than I found it for my children. But it's costly. I will say that. It cost me my career, and it cost me many of my friends, and unfortunately even some of you know, my family members. The theme of the book, I think, overall, is what I was just talking about, and it's that you know, whether it's in policing, police reform, or really any other conversation that we're trying to have in this country, it's indifference that is going to prevent us from solving these problems going forward. I think that Americans need to wake up. I think that they need to stop taking their democracy and their vote for granted. And I think that we need to learn, once again, how to put aside our differences and engage in a conversation for the better of our country.
And very briefly, in my last few seconds, what's next for you? One of our viewers, Michelle, said she loved the book. She would read anything that you write next, but she's kind of wondering what the next thing is for you in terms of this effort to hold people accountable and work on the issues that we're facing right now. Very briefly, what's next for you?
I don't have a clue. To be completely honest with you, I don't know. I mean, I'm still focused on accountability for January 6th and making sure that the officers that fought that day, that, you know, were so inspiring to me, are properly acknowledged.
I hear that. That is more than enough work to keep busy. I'm so grateful that you wrote this book. We are more than our trauma. We're more than the worst day of our lives. And I think being able to read more about your life painted that picture for me in a really vivid, powerful way that I just really could not put down. The book is called Hold the Line, The Insurrection and One Cop's Battle for America's Soul. Michael Fanone, I really appreciate you making time tonight. Thank you very much.
Likewise, thank you again for having me.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.